Oh, G Funky Boxing being joined by 97 Rough from Leave It in the Ring. What's going on, bro?
What's up, brother? It's been like a minute that we've been on live together, right?
Yeah, man. But we got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. Guys, the boss has officially sanctioned a hit on the like button. Okay, so make sure you hit the damn like button for us on your way in. All right. And also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Okay, we got an action-packed show tonight. We're gonna have Sampson Lewkowicz, promoter, come on and talk with us. We're gonna do a breakdown of Joyce versus Zhang, and then we're gonna talk about Regis Prograis in a possible fight with Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, you did hear that correctly. Okay, that is a thing. Round one, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. So let's get into this, man. Let's talk about what do you want to talk about first, man? You want to do Zhang or you want to do Prograis before Sampson comes on?
Oh man, let's do Prograis. Let's talk a little bit about Prograis and his career, and where it's at the moment. I think I'm like every other hardcore boxing fan. I'm at a stump with him. I don't know exactly who's in the driver's seat when it comes to making this. I mean, I have an idea who's the crash dummy, and I was hoping that he was gonna turn over the steering wheel, but it just doesn't look like it. One, I'm a free agent, which we talked about that behind the scenes. We were like, hey, I think I had told you. I said it's ideal is to go sign with, Top Rank, who's got all the guys, and get in the mix there.
Yeah.
And then when he announced that, hey, I'm a free agent, he puts on his cape and he flies another direction. So I'm confused in what's going on with him and what he thinks. I mean, I know there isn't such thing as overpricing yourself, and it just seems like he's come down to that syndrome.
Yeah, it's a strange situation, man. Now let's read it. So you guys don't think I'm making it up, okay? This is from Regis Prograis. You see the date, April 13th, 2023, where it says, so rumor has like a possibly fight Manny Pacquiao when he returns. I always wanted to get a picture with him, but I never thought it would happen during a face-off. That is crazy. But speaking of making fights, we got the man that makes the fights right here with us, Sampson Lewkowicz. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you to have me there.
Stop. Of course, man. And I want to say also thank you for giving me that interview last Friday night at the Showbox card. It was a great show, and then once again, thank you for bringing good fights to our city.
Well, it really was a pleasure, and hopefully we have another one very shortly.
Yes, we look forward to that. Both myself and my co-host tonight, we are in the area, so we would love for you to have another card here very soon.
Yeah, most likely it will be in September.
Ooh, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah, you can count on me being there, Sampson.
Yeah, not too cold and not too hot. So
yeah,
perfect weather.
No, I have in mind to bring an Olympian, the number one in Argentina. Okay. So we'll see if it happens.
Yeah, we would love that. So I want to ask you about obviously we're going to talk a little bit about Benavidez as well, but you have a lot of fighters. Now, speaking of the Showbox card, Shenard Bunch was in the main event, and from my understanding, he got injured during that fight, right?
When he dropped the skid, Flores, he hurt his shoulder, and he fought 9 rounds with his shoulder injury, and he's supposed to get in this moment in surgery.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that he was walking around in a sling after the fight. So wow, yeah, that's not good to be and to have surgery. But I have to say, the first 4 rounds, I thought he looked really, really good, fast, sharp. And then, just kind of faded out of nowhere. And I was like, man, I don't know what happened. But yeah, an injury can definitely change things up,
Let me tell you, I believe that many boxers in that condition, he will sit in the stool and stay and get a count. But this kid, he have a heart of a lion.
Yeah.
And he fought 9 rounds with the injury.
It's tough.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. Now I want to ask you about another one of your fighters here, and then I'm gonna let my co-host ask some questions. But I'm very interested in Edwin de los Santos, the kid from the Dominican. He
Mhm.
came in last fall and knocked out El Rayo Valenzuela in dramatic fashion. And we haven't seen him since then. So, Sampson, I'm wondering, is there anything lined up for him in the near future? Because he's an exciting fighter.
I tried to get someone to face it, but sometimes the fighter is not afraid of anyone, but the money is supposed to be right. And in this moment, there's not enough money to put a big name against him. That is the reason that I continue. The same thing happened to me with Michel Rivera.
Mm.
Finally, have a shot, and it was not 100% in training camp, and he paid the price. He took a
Yeah.
fight that he not supposed to take because he was not in camp the time that he's supposed to be.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you mentioned Rivera because he did have trouble making weight, which is what he said after the fight. Now, does that mean he's going to move up to super lightweight 140 and when he comes back?
He planned to go to 38 and see how he feel, and then to make the decision. Actually, it was my advice that
That's good
no
advice.
135 and now 140, if not 235, fighting 138.
Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to ask you, Samson, is when you have that type of situation, what you were saying is there's not enough money, uh, to get your fighter in the ring or the other fighter in the ring. Um, what is normally the typical thing you have to go back and tell the fighter, who wants to fight? Like you said, all fighters want to fight. How do you keep them motivated and being on standby when something like that is happening?
Well, sometimes boxers feel that he worth X amount of money, and you tell him a notch less, he say, no, it's not enough. I prefer to wait for another opportunity. But not because he's afraid, because he feel like he deserves to get paid more. And sometimes you make big mistake when you do that, because opportunity sometimes is more value than to get paid well, you know.
Right. How many times have you had to say that speech to a fighter that sometimes an opportunity has more value than the dollar sign?
Too many.
and, not many of them listen to you, huh? They're like, no, I want to go with the money route.
Yeah, sometimes like the zone in this case, he come to America and he pay crazy money, and that it hurt every promoter because we couldn't compete with the zone. But the zone he lost over $4 billion in 2 years. That include soccer and baseball and all the rest. And today is paying equal or less than PBC, you know, and doesn't put the quality fights. I guarantee you that my fight last week with Paco, it was better than like the zone with Canelo, the undercard.
Mhm.
I mean the whole fight, because you will sit and you know who win before you start the first bell.
That's a good point.
Do you think, Samson, that's why a lot of promoters like yourself didn't jump immediately when the zone was saying, come with us, I got a $1 billion budget? Because I spoke to a lot of folks behind the scenes that were saying this should all even out soon. You'll see this is not gonna, this can't stay possible, and what they're trying to do.
Well, you see, sometimes you need to make a decision, whatever it be best for the promotion company. I'm very happy with PBC because I like real fights. I do fights in South America, and everybody's waiting for me to put a show because he knows that it be a good show. And this is the way I work, and I did that from I remember on 2000 when I used to be a matchmaker working for Murad Muhammad. I put everybody tough, and we used to call them real fights in 2000 in Atlantic City. But I believe that this is the right way to do boxing. To people trust the promoter that he put everyone in risk, regardless if it belong to me or somebody else, the promoter fighter or somebody else fighter.
Yeah, no, that's good
Mm.
stuff there. So, last Saturday, Fundora suffers a knockout to Brian Mendoza. Looked very scary, but I'm glad that the young guy is okay. He got up and said, "Hey, man, I'm going to learn from this and come back and get better." Is it frustrating for you knowing that after he beat Lubin, he was the mandatory, but then they made him fight in what is it, two more eliminators, one against I believe it was Cota, and then now Brian Mendoza, and then he suffers a
Yeah.
loss. Is that frustrating?
Uh, Look, we need to learn that in boxing you win and you lose. But in this case, he was winning 6 rounds. He got lazy on the uppercut, and you know, he got the
Got caught.
punch that he's not supposed to get. Never. And it never happened again because this kid is like an elephant. He knows exactly what happened and it will never happen again. But look, in this moment, he's relaxing. It recognized that he make a mistake and that it cost him, and he will come stronger. I can guarantee you that.
He's such a humble kid. I actually texted him the following day, and he was just like, he comes with boxing. I'll be back stronger. And I really like the kid. I've been watching him for a long time, Sampson. Um, Let me ask you this, because he didn't get beat up. He was obviously winning that fight, and he got caught with that left hook, which even in the Lubin fight, he was getting caught with these over the top shots. What do you do to bring him back? Do you bring him back with a top 20, or do you try to bring him back in with a top 10?
No, what I try to do is a rematch,
Ooh.
and that is it be something special for many people. Probably we have it. A lot of people that they want to see the rematch
Yeah.
because I cannot say it was a lucky punch. It was a calculated punch that he dropped him. So Mendoza, he got a shot that he never had it in his life, and I believe that he will agree on the rematch and to
I
give
would
him
like
back the opportunity.
Yeah, that would be a good fight because I would like to see how Fundora bounces back. I always say this with fighters. When they take a loss, we can't just throw them away. We have to see how
Right.
they recover from the loss. That's how you know how good a fighter really is, the way that they adjust to situations. So I want to ask you about another one of your fighters that I saw last Friday night on the Showbox card, and sticking in the same division, Guido Schramm from Argentina.
Yeah,
Spectacular performance. I
yeah,
really
Great
enjoyed that fight,
performance.
Sampson.
Yeah.
It was a war for the first half, and then Schramm took over, and that was impressive. He really stepped on the
Yeah.
gas,
You
picked
look
up the
concerned.
volume.
You look concerned there for a minute, Sampson. You
well,
know?
listen, I concern all the time. But you see, like an example, that kind of fight doesn't deserve a rematch.
Right.
Yeah,
A rematch it will be Raul Garcia.
yeah,
That
with
it was a
Terry.
draw, but I believe that he won the fight. So, with that in mind, most likely we will do the rematch with Raul Garcia.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty good fight too. I was impressed with Schrum, the way that he showed that in the second half of the fight he gets stronger as the fight goes on, while the kid he was facing, Jaye Brown, was sort of fading. But also Guido had a lot to do with that. The pressure, the volume. That was a spectacular performance, and I can't wait to see him again. And hopefully, you bring him back up here September. I would love to see him fight
Uh,
again.
you see, the prospect like Raul Garcia, he deserves to have his rematch in your place, most likely. However, Guido Schramm can go to the next level for a real fight in Showtime, in opening bout, because he deserves and people love him because nobody believed how many punches thrown and how you know
Yeah, he was
his,
definitely
his, his
energizer
way.
bunny.
Yeah, he way he fought is attractive for the. It's a TV fighter, put it that way.
Right.
Yes, and he punches hard, Samson. I mean, I
Yeah,
was there and I was almost ringside where I was sitting, and I watched the Raul Terry fight, which was a good fight. But when I was listening to his punches, they just sounded different than everybody else's on that card that night. I mean, that kid can punch, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him again. I'm going to keep my eye on him because he's an exciting fighter.
you will
You
see it in
find
Showtime. Very
yeah,
soon.
you find these diamonds in the rough. These guys that come out of nowhere, Samson. You got a real gift for that.
Listen, when you work 24/7 in this industry, you have a result, and this is what I do. If you ask me, you know, let me tell you about this funny story. I did a show where I put 45,000 people in Argentina with Sergio Maravilla Martinez.
Yeah.
And I was invited by, you know, executives and all that to a dinner. And one of those, he told me, "Do you know Macy?" I said, "No, who is Macy?" you know, He's a soccer player. Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody started to laugh because, I don't watch any other sport, UFC or whatever.
Right.
I don't. It's only boxing, and I believe that is the key of the success.
Yeah. No, that's good. Stay focused. We have one question from the chat I think is something that we should definitely ask you. They want to know, are you still working with Maravilla, Sergio Martinez?
Absolutely not. He retired when he was 49 years ago, and when he told me that he wanted to come back, I went straight to Spain, and he told me if we have in that time $1 million comeback fight with HBO. And he told me, but if I fight, you make money. If I don't fight, you lose money. I told him, I don't lose money. I lose to make money, but your health is more important. And
Yeah.
I walk away.
Good for
Yeah.
you, man. Good. I love Sergio. I've had him on numerous times. Great fighter. That actually goes into one of my questions for you, Sampson, is that working with Sergio Martinez, did it help you become a better negotiator with promoters and other and networks? Because I know you guys had a really tough time with Sergio Martinez. You guys went up against Paul Williams, and he had to come out second, and he had to come out first. I know that HBO wasn't very fond of the kid, and I remember the WBC not wanting to give him a shot against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at the time.
No, you see, it's not true. First of all, I marinate the fight to get paid correctly. The business, like I did it with Plant and Benavides. He wanted to fight 5 years ago, and each one probably would get $50,000. And now you're talking about the millions. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is what I did. I mean, Benavides wanted to fight with them 5 years ago, but doesn't make sense when I know they have two great fighters that it will be attractive for TV. So you marinate. And actually, Plant said on the first press conference, Sampson told me that we need to marinate this fight. And this is what I hear today, that is what the promoter do
Yeah. I was
to
just going to say that.
maximize the profits for the fighters.
Yeah, that's your job. That's
Right.
you, the manager's job, is to get these guys the best deal possible. Now, I'll be honest with you, Samson. It is frustrating for us fans because we want to see the fights. We're dying to see them. But it's your job. Again, it's your job to make sure that these guys get what they deserve for the fight. So
When do you know though? When do you know, Sampson, that it's over marinated though? Like you don't want to get to that point. When do you know that okay, this is the time we need to make this fight happen?
Well, let me put this way. If I tell you all my secret, I'd be out of business. So, I believe I told you that before. So
yes, you
stop
told
it
me that.
already.
Yeah. All right, Sampson. So anything you want to ask today before we get into the big topic with Canelo? If you want, go ahead, brother, but I'm ready to shoot.
I'm ready to shoot too. I think Samson's ready for that too. His feet are in the sand, ready for us.
All right, let me take care of this.
Let's go, because I do have, I don't want to miss anyone, but I have several prospects and future champions, but it's better let's go to Canelo now.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank you, Eleazar Feliciano, for the $5 super chat. So let's talk about the Canelo thing. So from our interview last week, it sounded like the goal is to get Canelo next. But if no Canelo next, then you're going to move on and make fights with the guys on PBC like David Morrell and Charlo. Is that the correct plan, Sampson?
Definitely, but I still have a hope. And it's not about money, because most of the fighters that he fought Canelo, he never make $1 million plus. So he say, oh, he come for a good payday, which is true. But Benavides is making millions of dollars in every fight. Mm-hmm. So it's not about money. It's about who is the best in 168 pounds, a super middleweight. Yeah. So that is the reason. And probably, I don't believe he will fight in 168 against Bitball, because the WBC will not sanction that fight. Mm-hmm. And you get stripped, because in 68, no Russian and the WBC will allow to fight for a world title.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So if you go to 75, I believe he gets stripped too, because you need to, you have his mandatory for a long time. I need to comply with the mandatory. So that is the tools that I believe I will have. But in the same time, I want to give him the privilege to do right for himself and his legacy. Because his legacy, he will be fighting the best. And the best in this moment is David Benavides.
I agree. Currently, he is the best guy to fight, and a mandatory. Now, you were right also, Sam. So I'm going to show this real quickly. This is from Michael Coppinger, where he said that there was a 3-fight deal. This was early last year. Eddie Reynoso says the same thing. Now, the original plan was for him to fight in December against the cruiserweight Makabu. Now, obviously, that didn't happen because Canelo was injured in his fight with Gennady Golovkin. So now the third fight is in May with Ryder, and he still has the option for Bivol rematch. But you threw a curveball in there right now. I remember you said about the Russian thing with the WBC. I totally forgot about that. So you're right. His contract is going to be up with the Zone. He is going to be a free agent after this fight. So you're going to plan to go aggressively after him to make that fight?
Well, I will. I believe after this May 6th, I will send not only myself. I don't want to be like I'm a big man that I have 50 million or 40 millions or whatever millions to make an offer. Who mandate is the network. In this case, PBC and Showtime. Mm-hmm. So Showtime, he will tell me what is the budget. Many promoters say, no, I will pay so much, but it's not the case. The TV is the backup. So I will give him an offer, and hopefully for his legacy, we'll take it.
Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I mean, I'm hoping that he does take that as well. But I guess my question is that, let's just say none of that comes into fruition, or the Morale or the Charlos. Do you guys then focus to 175, moving up David Benavides?
No.
No, huh?
We have an agreement already with Morel from I would say 2 fights before this one. So Morel is a guy that he really liked to fight Benavides. And by the way, is the most dangerous of all of them.
Really good fighter. Yeah.
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 And it's funny because he doesn't have the school of the Cuban.
No, he
It's,
doesn't.
it's
No,
totally
he doesn't.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be the fight that he embraced the winner, And Canelo, you cannot force him. You cannot force any great champion like Canelo to take a fight that doesn't want it for several reasons. And one of the reasons definitely is the money.
Yeah.
But
And
wouldn't that force Canelo to then say, okay, I'm gonna fight Benavides? If Benavides gets in there with Morrell, which I know Luis had said that in the past, they wanted David Benavides too. And David's successful beating Morrell, doesn't that kind of force Canelo to go, okay, because his fans are gonna be like, okay, get this guy, show who's the best at 168, right? In a perfect world.
I don't know that. The only thing I can tell you that now that he's fighting in his own town of Guadalajara, it will make very small change, put it that way, compared of what he really deserves. But he want to do it, and one of the reasons he want to do it is because Benavides is a new sheriff in town in Las Vegas. He sold
Yeah.
out the place, and when he went with the Triple G, with the Golovkin, first of all, he went at half price. You buy one, you get one for free, and then he gave a lot of free tickets to fill up the stadium. When he started to do that, it means he started to lose his star as a sheriff of the town.
That's a good point. That's a good point there. Yeah. Did you have anything else, Dave, or did you want to?
I think Sampson's he's already answered anything. I had 20 questions here, and he answered them all
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
few sentences.
Well, I'll tell you this, Sampson, because I know you said there's fights on it. Yes, there are 2 fight cards on right now, currently. So I want to ask you this simple question, or maybe it's not simple, but this would be my last one, and then we'll let you go. When it comes to making fights, especially a cross promotion fight, can you explain to the fans how that works? Because a lot of people come on the internet and they say, this is how it works, that's how it works. I don't believe them. I want to hear from someone like yourself who's made fights for many, many years. Could you explain this how it works?
Well, myself, I deal with DAZN, with Golden Boy. Actually, I have on the 29th of this month in Texas, one of my fighters that he fought in PBC, he will fight for DAZN. But it's rare cases, like in this case, Garcia versus Davis. It's real because sometimes the TV network doesn't want to share
Yeah.
his fighters. And we, as a promoter, we need to keep the network happy. That is the only reason. So it's a special cases. I remember so many fights that it didn't happen. One is I used to be the matchmaker of Roy Jones Jr. when he was a champion for the WBC, and we're supposed to fight Michalczewski. So
Oh, yeah, I
when we
remember
see
that.
him, do you remember? Good.
Yes.
We went to Berlin to talk about it with Murad Muhammad. I used to be only the matchmaker. And when we see the promoter of Michalczewski say, I don't need Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. need me.
Right.
For the end, that's
Yeah.
it. At that time, Germany used to pay very good money, but now in Germany, it's broke in boxing. There's nothing there that he can, he lost everything because I believe the mistake it was the promoters. The promoters over there, he took advantage of the sport and he paid the price because boxing today in Germany is nothing.
Yeah.
Instead, Bob Arum, Golden Boy promotion, and PBC in this moment, that we continue working and giving the best fights. When you go to Germany, at that time, if you don't get robbed in the charges,
Right.
you know, so yeah, and always you take an underdog 20 to 1 or 10 to 1. So that is the reason that the German promoters, he got a lot of champions, but without opposition. And
Oh,
this is the end of the story in Germany.
right.
There's no more
Yeah.
boxing.
When you have a fighter like Canelo, though, he's a free agent. He really doesn't. Does he really have does he have to stay loyal to one network? I mean, because he's went over to Showtime, and I mean, with Benavidez, he would have to go to Showtime, or would he still have the negotiating power to make you guys go to the Zone?
Let me put it this way: he's very smart man. Actually, I saw last week. I saw Eddie Reynoso that he used to call me maestro,
Yeah.
teacher. He didn't call me anymore. It was on April 8th, but he's very smart. He knows what he's doing, and it's not loyal to any network. He's loyal whatever is good for him, and
Yes.
and I give him, I give him credit for that.
Yeah. I mean, they've done a great job with Canelo this far. I mean, he's made a ton of money, and that's the name of the game for a manager and promoter like yourself to, make these big events for the boxing fans. So, you sure you got nothing else, Dave? If not, that's it. We'll let him go.
No, man, nomás quiero decirle gracias mucho para tener el tiempo con nosotros. Es todo.
No,
It's great
it's my
speaking to you.
pleasure anytime. You know what? This is something that whoever listen and see this conversation, both of you are one of the less pay that they making almost nothing for the sport, and you can build a fighter, talking about him, interview, but doesn't get paid in most of the cases.
Right.
So for me, I give you all the respect to all of you, especially when it's educated, questions. And so I'm very happy to work with you today.
Thank
and
you.
showing to all these people that listen to you, uh, to your network, that your people doing everything for love of the sport,
Yes.
and not too many knows. Everybody think that you make millions. It's not the case.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
I need to say thank you and give you my respect to you.
Hey,
To
thank
both
you.
of you.
And we
to
thank
every
you
one
for
of you.
yes,
Thank you.
and we thank you for your time. And again, thank you for that great card last Friday night. I really did enjoy myself. Those are all very good competitive fights. That's what we're all about. We want to see good competitive matchups, not
Right.
mismatches. So we look forward to seeing you in the fall. Hopefully on another Paco with another work with Paco here in the Northern California.
Yeah, one of the best promoters in the north of California. I can tell you, the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. He's a really nice guy. Really,
Yes.
really
He's a
nice
good.
guy.
He's a good kid.
Yeah,
Yes.
Remember,
yes.
he
Well,
used to be with Dan
Shargan.
Shargan,
yeah.
and how I
And that,
got together with Paco is because Dan Shargan told me, if you want to work with someone after I pass, it will be Sampson. And
yeah.
and and probably I would say something when it take my time, but I don't know who. I have nobody to recommend in this moment.
Oh boy. Well, Sampson, it was a pleasure talking with you again.
Thank you.
And we hope to see all these great fights happen this year.
You got it. Thank
All
you
right,
very
sir.
much, and
Thank
God
you.
bless you. God bless
You
you all.
too. Have a good
Thank you.
night. Ladies and gentlemen, Sampson Lewkowicz, once again, man, he came on and great stuff, man, like always. And really nice guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him in person at the fights last week. So really good guy and a nice interview and not afraid to answer the tough questions.
No,
You
he
guys might
answered
not like
pretty
the
much.
answer. Yeah, you
Yeah.
might not like the answers, but they're the honest answers. So that's all we can ask for, man. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed that interview in the chat. I know somebody wanted to jump on and take phone calls, but he didn't want to do that. So
No, we had
I
a
didn't
very
want to.
limited time with them. We did
Yeah.
promise his people that, and thank you, Emily, as always. She's
Yes.
always hooking me up, and but
Yeah,
yeah,
she's great.
yeah, she's awesome. And again, like he answered everything. Like we both, me and you, went over what we wanted to talk to him about, and he just kind of eliminated that. And and had brought that up to I go, he might answer this with one of the questions we're going to ask. He might answer 2-3 of our questions and stuff, and he
Yeah.
did.
And he did.
And he
Yeah.
did. Yeah, he did. I was just hoping that he was going to let us like take a little dive into his world of how he really formulates these fights, get them going, and the tug of wars. I know many boxing heads, many hardcore boxing fans. We wish we could be the fly on the wall on some of these negotiations.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So let's get back to the show. And Renee's asking the question here, my man Renee. Guys, subscribe to him. Check him out here on YouTube. So I'm gonna show the tweet again, just so you guys don't think I'm making stuff up. All right, this is what Regis put out, man, yesterday, that he could possibly be fighting Manny Pacquiao. I mean, no disrespect, man, but I just couldn't help but laugh when I seen that. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, Regis. Like, I don't know who's guiding this guy in his career, but you need to get somebody else, man. You just need to sign with a promotional company, Regis. Please sign with somebody so they can make the fights for you, man. Okay.
Right. Love or hate Ramirez's manager, Rick. What's his last name? I always forget his last name.
Meridian? Is that how you say it? Something like
Meridian?
that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Sorry, Rick.
Yeah, we apologize.
Love or hate the guy. Love or hate the guy. But the guy does get things done. Okay. And obviously there are certain fight fans that surf the Twitter verse to tear the guy down, and that's just part of the game when you like to shout out and pat yourself in the back every time you do something. That's something that Rick likes to do. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, he called it. He's like, who's guiding your career? Who's getting you the fights? Come over here. I'll get something done for you. I think he even tweeted, "I'll get you a venti Starbucks of your likings," something like that. So when he said, "Hey, I'm a free agent," I was like, great move, because the next dumb move would have been signing with Star Boxing, and so I thought, okay, he finally made the right step coming forward. But then when you hit me up and you told me, "No, dude, did you see his tweet?" And I was like, "No, I haven't seen it. I'm driving." And then you sent it to me. Dude, I almost like caused a 2-car accident. I laughed so hard. I was like, this has got to be a joke. This got to be photoshopped, right? And you're like, nope, this isn't Photoshop. He's pulling the Broner route again. He's pulling the Broner card again.
Oh, man. I just don't understand it. And guys, if anybody wants to call in, phone number is right up there in the top of the screen. The phone lines are now open. Yeah, I mean, do you really think that Pacquiao's management is going to say, "Yeah, you're in your 40s. Let's put you in there at Regis Prograis"? Like, I'm sorry, man. I just have to laugh at that. Like, that is laughable. Like, dude, sign to Top Rank. That's where all the best fights are for you, man. Just sign the contract. You'll get all these guys that you want. You'll get the bigger fights. I mean, come on, man. And
he's been in bad deal after bad deal. He was in the World Series, great exposure, but then he went stag. Decided to sign with Schaefer, right? With Problem, whatever.
Probellum,
promotions. Nothing was done there. I mean, I think anybody would have told him, don't go that way. There's no active fighters over there. It's a baby company. I understand it's Schaefer, but nobody wants to do deals with Schaefer. Okay. I mean, Al Heyman, after his trying to take over of all Golden Boy stable, what did Al Heyman do? He pulled out a 20-foot pole and pushed him aside. Right? That should have said, that's the writing on the walls for Prograis. But he's too busy gathering his Twitter gang to scream out, Nobody wants to beat this guy. Nobody wants to fight him. Everybody's ducking him. And then, bro, that's got to be a slap in the face when he tweets out Manny Pacquiao.
That is indeed a kick in the cornflakes with that one. Okay, like
crunch,
sorry, man. Yeah, I am very sorry, man. But if you're a Prograis fan and you're okay with this, I just don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And
dude, he's the only boogeyman that I know that's never had a feature film.
Yeah. I mean, from my understanding, Santiago, isn't it Sean Gibbons that's still managing Pacquiao, or was for his last fight?
No, I don't think so. I think that is he's just an advisor.
Well, I know he wouldn't advise him to fight Regis. I know that's for sure. Because I mean, number one, Regis is just, let's just be honest, he's too good at this point to fight a guy in his 40s.
He is in his prime.
Yeah.
But I think Manny will still give him some, definitely some rounds. How serious Manny is coming back. I think Manny's going to go for. Look. This is why it's also kind of laughable. Manny is in a money position. Okay, he's going to go after what makes the most sense dollar-wise.
Yep.
Does Prograis, who didn't do very well with his pay-per-view numbers, or even at the, where they held the fight in Southern California, with the Southern California fighter, didn't do very well at the gate. Manny going to go that route, or would he go after somebody else that possibly has a name?
I mean, like
less of a threat.
we just talked to one of the best promoters in boxing right now. It's got to make sense. Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement to fight Regis Prograis makes double zero cents. Okay, again, he's too dangerous for a guy Pacquiao's age, and like you said, the man couldn't sell out my living room on a Saturday night. There's no way this fight is happening. And if he's hanging on a string waiting for this fight to happen, I just don't know what to say anymore. Regis, you just need to sign with somebody at this point, man. Let a promoter sign you. Let the matchmakers put you in these fights. And
Top Rank will sign him. Top Rank will sign. Rick will.
I hope they do.
Will jump on his little pony and ride over there to get him to sign. And I think that is the more sensible ideal to do, especially to get into the mix with everybody that's there. Look what's happening. Devin Haney was smart enough to understand. I got to leave the zone. I'm not going to sign with PBC. I got to go where the fights are at, and look what's going on. They're building him into a star.
And potential guys moving up. If Regis can keep his body at 140, you just mentioned one guy who's, a Snickers bar away from going to 140, and Devin Haney. Potentially in a year or two, Shakur Stevenson could be moving up. I mean, you got to make the move, man. I mean, yes, there's two belts over there on PBC with Puello and Matias, but and you could possibly beat those guys. But again, the biggest matchups and the best matchups are at Top Rank, man.
Yeah.
You gotta go to Top Rank, man. And it's bad because, and I know, look, this is going to come across to some people as I'm hating on Regis. No, I think Regis is a fantastic fighter, and it's
great
a shame that
fighter. Right.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's not getting.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's not getting the exposure, and he's not a ticket seller because he is exciting to watch. He goes for the knockout. He doesn't run all night. He's not overly defensive. It's just he's got bad people around him, just like Demetrius Andrade. Same situation. I don't know who's worse at this point. I might have to give it to Regis if he actually tries to fight Pacquiao.
I think Regis though has an actual, career of becoming a star in the sport, where fans will gravitate towards him more than Demetrius. Demetrius is Demetrius right now, doesn't really have not a lot of fans are jumping over each other to go watch Andrade, unfortunately, and it's just Regis just keeps. Dude, how many more bullets are left in the gun to keep shooting yourself in the foot?
Yeah, and I think at this point, Santiago, I think he doesn't have a choice. He has to roll the dice. He has to.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who this kid is, and that's a problem. Not even in his home. Again, I've talked about regional stars, how that's important in boxing. He's not even a star in his region. That's how bad it is for this guy. Like, I don't get it, man. But he definitely needs to go and get himself some good management and sign to a real promotional company,
not
man.
BLK, brother.
No, no, BLK. No, I would not.
I mean that's the same yellow brick road he's been on. Those past what 5 years right now. He's been on that same yellow brick road and stuff.
Let's hope that if the Pacquiao thing doesn't work out, that he tries to chase Broner again and go sign with Don King to try to make that happen. Oh man, that would be awful. Just sign with Top Rank Regis, please.
The next movie is gonna be digging up Kushner promotions from the grave, bro, and signing with him.
So that's our thoughts, guys, on Regis and this recent thing. Then, I hope that this is just a rumor, like you said. Right. I hope that he's not really trying to pursue this. But let's move on to the heavyweights this weekend. And again, guys, if anybody wants to call in, the number's right up there. Or did I point right over here? Yeah. There you go.
916-572-1020.
Yeah, that's the number. Here. You want to talk with G Funk at 97 Rough? We're here, man. We're willing to speak to you guys. You can speak your mind on anything Sampson had to say on the Regis and Pacquiao rumors. But now we're going to get into Zhang versus Joyce. I think it's a fantastic fight, man.
Oh, dude, I really do. I love this fight. I really do like this fight. Both very heavy-handed, both big guys. You just got to give it with Joyce, though. Ring experience is more in his favor.
Yeah. And Zhang, they're the same height, 6'6". Let me actually get the tail of the tape here. All right. This way I don't forget nothing. Because guys, I'm getting old, man. All right. And I forget a lot of shit these days. So that's why I have to write things down and take pictures of things. But
where were we again?
right. So Zhang's record: 24 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 19 KOs. The man is 6'6", 78-inch reach, but he weighed in today at a whopping 278 pounds. He is big.
It's big boy.
Guys. 39 years old as well. And Joyce on the other side, 15 wins, no losses, 14 KOs, 6'6", has a 2-inch reach advantage at 80, age 37. So he's not that far behind Zhang. And he weighed in at 156 pounds. So Zhang is coming in 22 pounds heavier, and he's a southpaw. And from my understanding, and I could be wrong, this is the first time
176, because you said 176.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. 200, yeah. And this is the first time that I believe that Joyce is fighting a southpaw in the professionals. Now, I know he fought a lot of southpaws. It's Usyk, he's fought in the amateurs.
Which he had problems with.
Yeah. So, do you think that's going to be an issue in this fight for him? Being that a guy is big in southpaw?
I don't think so, because Usyk gives everybody problems as southpaw, and he's so elusive, so light-footed. And he gave Joyce a lot of issues. I mean, Joyce was not even in the fight. But with Zhang, it's different. Foot placement's not going to be a major factor. He's a thumper. He's going to come forward, and he loads up a little bit too much on his shots. Who's managing him is comes from a legendary family, the Lanes. Terry Lane is his manager, and I had a chance to talk to him a little bit about it and stuff. I'm rooting for the kid, but at the same time, I got to lean with Joyce, because I think Joyce was he's gonna figure him out pretty quick, because he's Zhang is pretty methodical with his feet. There's nothing special there. He's just a big guy. Does throw punches down the pipe, but he's very readable.
Yeah, no, that's a good breakdown prediction there, man. I was impressed with Zhang's last fight against Filip Hrgović, a guy who was called the Boogeyman last year at heavyweight. And again, you guys know I don't believe in boogeymen, but I felt like he won that fight. I actually scored the fight for Zhang. The official judges, which is all that counts, gave the fight to Hrgović, but man, he really did push him hard. And for me, Joyce has showed a great chin so far in his career. I feel like his defense is underrated. That's just my opinion. I know there's some people that think His defense is really, really bad. And by no means am I saying he's got good defense. I just think what he does defensively is underrated. I feel like he does catch a lot of shots with his gloves that look like they land.
Right.
He doesn't have a whole lot of head movement, upper body movement. Um, and I think he does this thing. Now, some of you might laugh at this, but like I remember when I was training with my friends when I was a teenager, and like one of the hardest things for me to get down in boxing was to be able to look at a punch while it's coming at you, because your natural instinct is just to go like this,
Right.
and that's one thing that I tell you, like, don't do that because you're gonna end up getting knocked out doing that.
Right.
You're not gonna see the punch and then you're gonna go out.
They say,
Joyce is
that's the punch that knocks you out, is the one that you don't see.
Yeah. And Joyce is really good at looking at the shots. Yeah, he doesn't get out of the way a lot of the time,
Right.
but he sees them coming, so he can kind of brace himself for the impact. But I do think there are times where he does catch a lot of punches with his guard. They don't always all get in clean. And Zhang's got a punch. And again, he's outweighing this guy by 22 pounds.
And
Man.
that's what makes it interesting, is because what you just mentioned right now is all truth, all fact. But this is a bigger guy.
Yeah.
He's been able to absorb smaller heavyweights and walk him down with his George Foreman jab, with his body size. He's been able to bully the smaller heavyweights in the division. Here's something different here. I think he's going to have to incorporate what he's learned in the amateurs and what he's learned in the World Boxing Series that he did participate in, where Usyk and Lomachenko, a few other guys were involved in. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to do a little something if he can't push Zhang back. And he's going to have to set Zhang up, with punches, and not rely on his size. So that's what I'm interested. Can he push the bigger guy back? And if he can't, can he adjust to that? And can he take or afford absorbing punishment the way he's done with the smaller heavyweights in the division?
Yeah, good point. And again, I do believe in the southpaw advantage. Now, is it 100% every time? No, obviously.
Right.
But I am interested to see how he's going to deal with a southpaw that is just as big and weighs more than him. And like we said, Usyk, a few inches shorter and definitely not as heavy as a Joe Joyce. And he's fought him in that World Series of boxing prior to becoming a professional. So he does have the experience, but again, in the professional ranks, it's a little different, in my opinion. And I'm interested to see how he's going to take the punch, because he's going to land that punch. To me, there's no doubt about it that Zhang is going to land that punch, that big punch of his.
Yeah.
Going to be interesting to see if Joyce can take it. Yeah. And if he can take it and then walk him down like he's done all the other heavyweights.
Take it, whew, if Zhang could take Joyce's punches, then the question is, can Joyce take Zhang's punches?
Yeah. Yeah.
I really see an all-out war between these two, because it's going to be, for Zhang, it's got to be go for broke. I don't see any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. He's going to go for it, man. And that's what's going to make this fight exciting, man. So exciting. But I'm going to go with the younger guy in Joe Joyce. Plus, I really like his trainer, Ismail Sal. I think he's one of the best trainers in boxing right now. And in my opinion, I know we're only a quarter of the way into the year, but he is way out in lead for trainer of the year so far.
No, definitely.
It's going to be hard to catch him at this point, especially if Joyce wins this fight in dramatic fashion, like he's been doing with these heavyweights. Like, Joe Parker, who he fought last, the guy had never been stopped. And Joyce brutally stops him, just kept coming. The guy's like the Terminator, he just doesn't stop. But we'll see, man. Again, he's in there with a guy who's heavier, a southpaw. We're gonna see, man. But I like Joyce's corner. I like what I have seen improvements, man. Some of you might disagree with me, but I have seen improvements. But I think this is a fantastic fight. I'm gonna take Joyce, though. I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah, I got to go with you too. I think he stops Zhang. I think it's gonna be not an easy fight. I think you're going to see some very heavy exchanges between two very big men in the ring Saturday night. But I think the jab is what's going to really control this fight. And that's
Yep.
one thing that Joyce has, that throws very beautiful. It's slow, methodical, but God, it's like staring into a tunnel of light. You just can't get your eyes off of it. I've noticed that, right? The boy couldn't get away from it. Parker couldn't get away from it. Nobody could seem to get away, and it's slow. It's like it's like taunting. He's like, "Here I come. I'm coming. I'm coming," and boom. And it's almost like your mind's like, this ain't gonna hurt, right? It's too slow to hurt me. The tortoise is not gonna outbeat me, and the turtle always seems to outbeat the Harrisons every time he steps in the ring with Joe Joyce. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think we're going to see a stoppage, but I do believe we're going to see probably one of the better heavyweight fights of the beginning of this year.
Yeah, and we could see maybe a little crack in that shield of Joyce's. I'm very curious to see how he
Yeah.
takes that punch because, again, like I said, I think his defense is underrated. I think he has improved in some areas, but he is still very hittable. And
Yep.
Zhang is going to land that big punch, man. And I want to see what happens, man. I really want to see how he handles it. So, I mean, that's it for this episode, guys. Now, before we go, we have some more interviews coming next week, guys. You're not going to want to miss these ones. I'm not going to give it away right now, but I just want to put it out there before we close it up, man. We got some guests coming on that you guys are definitely going to want to see next week and in the future. We got some stuff that we're working on here, and I got to give a lot of credit to my man here, 97 Rough, for making these things happen. And go ahead and close out with anything you want to say, man.
No, man, I'm really excited about some of the projects that we've been talking about, and now it's really like we just started doing it. There's other things that me and you plan to do together. Obviously you're still gonna have your show and stuff, but we're gonna collab with some interviews and then some fight films and even some road trips. We got some road trips that me and you got planned out to go do this summer here. So really excited, and I'm really excited for everybody that tunes in to your channel and my channel to witness and be a part of.
Yeah, and let everybody know where they can find you, man. Social media and everything else.
You can find me where G Styles at. That's where you can find me.
Oh man. So all right, guys. Let's see. Run PMC says, looking forward to seeing the great listen, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Looking forward to great seeing Dave back talking boxing. Guys, I am
thank
so
you, Ron.
sorry.
Appreciate it, brother.
I told you guys at the beginning of the show, I got dad brain happening right now, man.
Yeah, 24/7, man. 24/7.
Yeah, man. But this has been great. Again, I want to thank Sampson Lewkowicz for being here, taking time to talk with us and everybody else in the chat. Well, guys, Thompson Boxing is going to start right now on YouTube.
Yes.
360 Promotions is having a fight. I believe that starts at 8 o'clock as well on the UFC Fight Pass. So there's fights, man, and we're not taking up time for you guys. We're ending the show right now, so we can all
don't miss
enjoy. Yeah, we can all enjoy the fights together. So, again, keep it locked, guys. We got some more stuff coming. Thank you all for being here, and we are out. We'll see you on.